leaves. He did answer that question right at the end. Will any of that change the administration's policy? He said flatly, one word, no. But before that, making the point, and it was essentially the same point made in several different ways. But Joe Biden saying the American people must have the right to be heard, but the rule of law must be upheld. He said there was a right for peaceful protest, but in a civil society, order must prevail. He said there was a moment of clarity here. And he said peaceful protest is allowed, violence is not allowed, threatening people is not allowed. He said people have the right to protest, but not to cause chaos. So those the very clear words from Joe Biden after everything we've seen at the university in New York and those scenes coming overnight from Los Angeles. We'll have more political reaction here on a moment or two, but Caroline Bissonnette is a student reporter. I interrupted her. We were talking about those events at Columbia University a couple of nights ago. Caroline, let me bring you back in. Apologies that we had to break away so quickly, but you were listening to the president. What were your thoughts on what he had to say there?
I thought it to be, I appreciate, to be honest, that he highlighted the plight not only of the Jewish students on campus, but also the Palestinian and Arab and Muslim students on campus who have also been facing discrimination as well. So I think it's important to sort of keep both of those voices highlighted in the conversation when we talk about these protests. So I appreciated that. I do think that him saying that destroying property is not peaceful protest, that saying that creating chaos is not peaceful protest, is a little ironic considering the huge amount of property damage and chaos caused by the NYPD coming onto campus late Tuesday night. So that, from my perspective, it was quite a chaotic scene, what I witnessed, NYPD coming in. Students and faculty were not really given any notice that this raid was going to be happening. We were issued a shelter-in-place order that evening, Tuesday evening at around 8:21 p.m. And so wherever you were at that time, on campus, around campus, you had to stay there. So we were essentially, many of the faculty and students were essentially imprisoned in whatever building they were in. There were police guards guarding the doors to buildings, guarding all the gates to campus. They set up a huge perimeter around campus. I was able to get near, but not through the gates. And I watched the police raid from the corner of 116th and Amsterdam right outside of Hind Hall.
You said that students weren't given notice, but you would accept, would you not, that even if they had been, the majority would likely have stayed, just like we saw overnight in UCLA. So let me ask you just a final thought about potentially...
Not the students, can I clarify? Not the students in the encampment. I mean, the student body in general, the faculty as well. So if you were on campus, you had to stay in the building that you were in. So many people got stuck in their offices or in friends' dorms rooms or whatever. If you were wandering around campus, you also got pushed into a building. So many student journalists ended up in buildings on campus, and we weren't given notice of that.
Quick final thought then. Do you think these protests will resume there at Columbia in the coming days?
I imagine they will. I don't think this is going to end here. I was there on campus. I know there's still a huge police presence. When I was able to get into the gates late that night, and I saw them clearing out the encampment, throwing everything away. Police had removed all the barriers from Hamilton Hall. And there was a huge police presence still there. When I left at around 2:30 a.m., there were probably 25 police officers in the lobby of Pulitzer Hall, the journalism school on campus, as well as police guarding every gate and occupying every building. I myself, as a student, have not been able to get in for the last 2 days. It's completely locked down. There's only police and students who live in dorms on campus are able to get in currently.
Caroline Bissonnette, thank you very much for being here live on the programme.